Hey guys, what's up? This is Dan here with GrapeVineRecording, and today we are going to be looking at the new Waves NX plugin. So what this plugin is basically, they call it a virtual mix room over headphones. Now, this is something I've been after for so long, so I was very excited to actually get my hands on it and give it a go and see what I think of it. As you may notice, I haven't done a lot of product reviews in a long time, and primarily just because I'm dealing with a lot of post production type stuff. There isn't a lot of usability in a lot of these plugins to actually show you as a product review. So today we are going to be looking at music. I haven't recorded a lot of music in a while, so we are going back to a pretty old track. I am going to just let you know really quickly that it's one of them plugins which I'm not sure how well the sound is gonna portray across YouTube or across mix downs and all stuff like that, because the entire point of this product is to work with your head. So what it is, it's called a HRTF, or a head related transfer function, and everyone's got a pretty unique HRTF. It's all to do with the size of your head, the distance between your ears, the size of your ears, how much hair you've got, your torso. There's so many factors which give you an individual HRTF, and that allows you to listen and your hearing fingerprint. So it is quite unique to you. What they do in this plugin is actually make it so you can somewhat customize the HRTF data, and that's great because that is something that isn't actually used that often, and I'm really happy that they've finally put in a level of customization into this type of algorithm, because usually it's just an average and it could work for you, but it also might not work for you. So there's at least a little bit of leeway in this. So basically, you can download this from the Waves website. NX Virtual Mix Room over headphones. You can also demo it for 14 days if you wish. It's just downloaded through the Waves Central, which is very nice and easy to get set up. So it says, I'm going to include all this in the description anyway as links, but you get the ideal acoustic of a top mix room inside your headphones. You can download the user guide, which I also have done, which just explains in a little bit briefly how it works, and what you need to do to set it up and things like that, and some of the ideal ways to configure it. So basically what I've done is just opened up a Pro Tools session, inserted the Waves NX on my master fader. Probably best putting it as the last thing on your chain. The one thing just to say before we carry on is they do recommend that you disable this plugin before you bounce anything down, because of, basically what it's doing. You don't want to encode that. You just want that to monitor, and then when you're happy, you just disable it and bounce it out. So basically, when you attach it, when you insert it, this plugin window will open up. If you just bear with me while it turns on, it has head tracking. So here is my wonderful head, and let me just move it so it's somewhat closer to this. If you've got a camera, oh dear, I've it's gone away. Right, if you've got a camera attached to your computer, what it'll do is it'll basically turn your camera on, and a little picture of your head will come up. What this does is it basically allows to track your head movements. If you see in the top, when I move my head, the representation will also change. Move forward. There's obviously limits to how well this will track. If you see in the bottom right hand corner, it's got my frames per second. They recommend that you use about 15 to 20 frames per second to try and get an accurate and consistent reading in this. One good thing about this is that obviously the more you move, the more the head at the top will move with you, and it's kind of a little bit gimmicky, if I'm honest, because you can kind of move closer to one speaker or move closer to another one, and it does kind of sound as if you are moving towards that. Of course, if this is meant to be used in a professional environment, I kind of don't really like the head tracking, if I'm honest. Of course, there's limits to where it'll work because of, the distance of your head and stuff like that. And I think it's like 30 degrees off axis if you turn too much, it will disappear. To get more frames per second, you want to increase the light. I know I'm not really in an ideal place because I've got a window directly behind me, but the more light that you can get into the front of your face, the better for this. So also what you've got up here in head modeling is you can actually put in your own head measurements. Best just get a little tape measure. I have already done this, and I know that my head is 23 inches. I have a huge head, and my interoral arc. So let me just explain what that is. So to personalize these parameters, use a measuring tape to measure the full circumference of your head. So over the back of the head, ears, and eyebrows. So basically, you just measure it around there and see what that is. And the interoral arc is the difference from ear to ear. So from the ear canal to the ear canal over the back of your head. So that is your interoral arc. After you've done that, you just enter them into here. And what you do is you set current settings as default. So whenever you open this plugin, that will actually open up for you. A couple of the things that I do like about this is you can turn off head tracking if that's not really your cup of tea, which I prefer. You can also lock the X, Y, and Z axis. So basically, you can't move within that sweet spot, but you can just, tilt your head and stuff like that. So you're not basically moving, like all the way round there. Once you've got your comfortable position where you would normally sit, if you just click the sweet spot, that will actually set that as the middle area, which is very, very nice. So there's a couple of things which I was a little bit confused over at first. And basically, this is what I was saying about actually, downloading the trial and giving it a go yourself. You can change the speaker positions, like so. But I just keep mine to a standard 60 degrees. You can change it like that as well if you wish, which is a little bit on the peculiar side. I just want to let you know that this actually works with surround sound as well. So if you've got, of course, like we don't have 5.1 tracks in this version of Pro Tools, but if that was something that you were working on, what you can do is actually either upscale your stereo to 5.1. You can use 5.1 to 5.1 track. And all that does, though, is just outputs the audio out of left and right, of course, because that's how your headphones work. But if you do that, you do get more options in terms of speaker positions and stuff, and you can, just listen to, one speaker at a time and monitor like that, which is very, very nice. Room ambiances is a little bit strange. I'm going to try and play this, so bear with me because I don't know how well this is actually going to work. The darkest night. I also realised that it's quite difficult to do because there's actually some reverb on these tracks. So if I try and just get the end of something. Oh, let's try that again. I don't know whether you can hear it, but it actually, there's a little bit of a tail, and that's based on these room ambiances. So what I can do, if I hide it all the way up. So again, that basically just adds in specific room ambiances to try and bring the sound further away from your head, like further away from your ears. If you understand how, basically, let me just turn this on. Not that one. That one. Right, so if you think of how headphones work, it's just two speakers going right into your ears. So at times it'll sound as if it's just left and right. It doesn't sound like speakers, which are usually positioned further forward, at that 60 degrees. It's actually right here, so 180, you know what I mean? It's directly like that. So what this does, this instills the HRTF data, as I said before, but also some room modeling, which will actually bring the sound further out. Bear in mind, this is all psychoacoustics. This is all fake, right? So you're not actually listening through speakers, but it's all modeling and algorithms and psychoacoustics and stuff like that. Very similar to the VRM technology that Focusrite come out with. So it's somewhat similar to that, but obviously with added head tracking and things like that. But it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. This is the type of stuff I've wanted for a long, long time. It's something that I think I'm just so glad that we're actually moving into this territory. I don't necessarily think that this is a substitute for speakers. I think it's a good step on the way to substitute for speakers. You'll always get a more accurate mixing experience if you listen in a nice room with nice speakers in a very well calibrated situation. And I think this is just a nice way to. I think if you use this as a reference tool, I think you're all well and good. I think that's what the VRM was when it was something to just basically. You've listened to it on headphones in a certain way. You haven't got access to speakers. Well, yeah, let's just have a go and let's just have a little listen just in case it shows up some terrible issues that you can fix there and then. And I think this is a great way of doing that. I don't think I would mix everything through it, if I'm honest. I'm not entirely confident or comfortable with how the algorithms work. And the main problem with stuff like this is, of course, Waves don't want to let you know too much. This is all proprietary information, and they're not going to tell us how their algorithms work. So we kind of just have to take it on face value and trust that it actually works, which is I don't know whether I'd like to do that professionally, if I'm honest. But again, I think it's a cool tool. I think it's a very nice a nice step in the direction, because I do a lot of work on headphones. It is kind of nice to have, listen to it in a little bit of a different way. And there are times where I've worked on another project where when listening through this, I can get a better sense of how reverbs sit along each other, and the tonal balances of reverb and stuff like that. I think the head tracking is a little bit gimmicky, if I'm honest. It's fine and it is kind of fun, but a lot of the times I still want to think that I am working on headphones and want to sit in a static place. Regardless of if I move, I do want the sound source to remain the same. I am sadly, as I said, I apologize, I can't actually show off the 5.1 version, but there are plenty of videos which you can see how this works in 5.1 and how you route it and all stuff like that. Because I've only got a stereo system, I can only show the stereo systems. Just remember once again to disable it when you want to bounce it out, because I'd imagine that I'll just add some really funky phasing systems. And of course, this doesn't work if you add this on and then monitor through speakers. Of course, it's built for headphones and things like that. So it's good. But as I say, it's good. I like it. It's very customizable. Oh, I've turned everything off again. And it's a great step forward. But try it out. It's a free 14-day trial, and I think it's only $50, so it's £30, £33, I think. And I think it's a kind of a cool little thing to have. And if you customize it right, and for me, if you turn off head track, oh no, I've done it, I've broke it. If you turn off head tracking, it's a really nice way to listen to your mixers in a different environment. So I definitely suggest checking it out just for that. And I've got a feeling that this is going to be more like things that are gonna. Oh, I am here. These are going to be things that a lot of manufacturers are going to be going into and trying to do, and it's definitely worth maybe getting in on the ground floor and learning how to use this now, because I think over the next couple of years this is going to be a big deal. But this has been Dan with GrapeVineRecording. Sorry I couldn't show a lot of audio examples, but I'm sure you'd understand that it just wouldn't work. What I might be able to do, actually, if I turn off head tracking, can I just keep me? Yeah. So I've turned off head tracking, so that's just not there. That's just not there at all. If you do have headphones, please put them on and try and listen to this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bypass stuff. So I'll just play through like this middle section here, and then I'll play through with it off, and then I'll play through it with it on. Hopefully you have the same circumference of head as I do. So hopefully you can kind of hear some kind of difference here. To me, takes it from right here and just kind of brings it out into the room a little bit, and it's nice. It's pleasant. You know, we're not used to listening to stuff on headphones naturally, so it's nice to actually, you know, put your headphone sounds into the room a little bit. And of course, in a situation where I am, I don't have the best sounding room in the world, so it's nice just to be able to listen to whatever studio they set this up for. It's nice to maybe hope that one day my sounds would go through that. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Definitely try it out. It's cool, and it's something that we can. I think it's something that will definitely be a big thing in the future. But this has been Dan with GrapeVineRecording. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.